I'll put it to you this way, like in an example, like if you ran like a quiz funnel, right? Like on
Yeah.
Meta, for example, and you tell Meta it's like optimize for people to fill out this quiz, right? And it's to a specific ICP, they're going to be like, great, we're going to send it in front of this ICP. Now imagine that one of the questions in the quiz is like revenue ranges, like how much revenue you're currently doing per year. And now you tell Meta it's like actually the only ones that are qualified are the people that are doing like 5 million and above. That's a totally different signal that
Mm-hmm.
you're giving back to the platform, right? And so things like qualifying people based off of size, qualifying people based off of like number of employees on like a B2B side makes like a ton of sense. It really depends for like for non B2B, it's a little bit trickier in my opinion, right? Because like when you're talking B2C, it's like a lot of people can afford your stuff, right? Especially depending on price point. But I think that like more so than ever, like, I was talking to somebody, I'm like, man, like Hyros and like Triple Whale and like all these other, they're so expensive. And
Yeah.
it's like, yep. And like, what's your option? I'm like, good point. Like, what are you going to do? Like, well, you got to pay them because like, the funnels are no longer like this, like last click attribution no longer works. It's not terrible, but I mean, it's not what is going to carry you forward from here on out, in my opinion.
Yeah. So we're talking about all these things, and one of the things we didn't even really get to was like remote teams, right? Remote
Yeah.
team, like since COVID, everybody's coming in the market. Like campaigns that I used to run don't work anymore because it's too saturated. You got, now you got remote people, it's the norm. People don't want to work like in an office, like it's like pulling teeth to get them to come in. Like you've got all these different factors, right? And you're
Yeah.
working with a lot of different agencies. I would love for you to like set the table on, and I think we've talked about this a little bit, but
Yeah.
let's put it together in kind of a concise, abstract like theme of, okay, where is the market at? What are the things people are dealing with? And where is it going to be in 18 months? Because I mean, I'm having a conversation. I had a conversation earlier today about the layoffs that are coming from
Yeah.
the AI browsers that can do repetitive tasks for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I mean, I'm seeing like billers, banks, like all this is going to go to AI. So
Yeah.
unless you're at the highest level
the
of
the people at the highest
understand,
level with the highest experience are the ones that are safe. Like, I mean, like if you're not there yet, it's like go train yourself, like watch every YouTube from like a reputable source, like pay for a course like somewhere like from somebody reputable again, like go do that. But I would say from like a remote team perspective, like here's the thing. It's not like it was before. I think that the initial productivity spike that went up when we originally went remote after like post COVID was because we had like a cultural connection because we were
yes.
all in office, and
Mhm.
then we were like reaping the reward of those relationships in productivity and the fact that like we knew each other. But now that there's turnover in teams and things like that, we don't know each other in that context anymore, and this is where like that connection is lost. So like number one, we need to be like way more intentional about generating connection between like ourselves and our teams, and and setting up situations where they can set up that connection with each other. Number one. Number two, skip level meetings. Like if you're like an owner and you have like a manager, or if you're a director and you have a manager below you and then the front line, you need to start doing skip level meetings at minimum quarterly to see how
Mhm.
things are going. Like this
I
is a
like that.
non-negotiable in this world. The other thing that I'm going to say is that standard operating procedures are more important than pretty much any other time in history in business. Because before, if you didn't know how to do something, you could just like roll your chair over about like 3 feet and ask the person next to you, like, hey, I'm stuck. And now it's been proven that people will sit there stuck and not say anything and wait until their next one-to-one with their manager, which could be days away, and just be stuck the entire time. And
Mhm.
that's not reasonable, right? I'm going to take a step further from standard operating procedures to say that every agency needs a RACI matrix. And if you don't know what that is, please ChatGPT it. It'll actually give you a pretty good answer about what it is. And then you need to implement a RACI matrix in your own company. The last thing, and I'm going to say that this is the most important thing to be successful in a remote environment, is something that I call having objectives, metrics, and KPIs. Okay. Before, we could judge people a lot on just like their work output. Like, hey, are you doing the work?
Mm.
I don't think that's good enough anymore. Not in a remote only environment. Okay. If you're in a remote only environment, you have to move into objectives, metrics, KPIs. What are objectives? Like in an agency, for example, an objective would be like client retention, right? So that's objective number one. An objective number two could be like client results. Objective number three could be like productivity, like either dollars under management or like hours billed, right? Doesn't matter. But for every objective, you need a metric. So for example, I want client retention as objective number one. That's the most important thing to me. What is the metric of client retention? Churn. I can measure churn, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's my metric, and I judge that objective by that metric. But churn is like a rear view mirror number. It's like really slow because like if a problem happens and I have a churn problem, it's already behind me. I can't really bring the client back.
Yeah.
So I need a KPI in the truest sense, like key performance indicator. It is an indicator of performance of the metric that it's tied to would be net promoter score. Because a net promoter score, if somebody like scores me like say like a 3 out of 10, so they're not that happy with me, that means that they're a churn risk. And if I salvage the account, I'm going to prevent them from churning. And to me, this objective metric KPI thing is like the number one most important thing to install in a remote first team, because now it's like, hey, are the numbers congruent to success? And are they in alignment with agency objectives overall and client objectives overall? And I call this triple net wins. It's like you need to set up objectives in a way where when people achieve them, it automatically creates a win for the client, for the agency, and for the person themselves, like the actual individual contributor themselves at the same time.
I love that. Nick, you dropped like a ton of value. I'm coming up against a hard stop. How do people find out more? Because
Yeah.
like you just gave a ton of stuff there. I'm gonna actually have to go back and listen to it again. There's definitely like some value in there for me that I want to like apply to what we're currently doing even.
Yeah.
And so I've really
Look,
enjoyed this
I'll
conversation.
leave the listeners behind with like a couple links.
Yeah.
So like some free resources. Like one of them is like a great dashboard that I use, and number two is like a free training that is like ungated, just to like go check it out. It's a lot of the things that we just talked about on this show, especially towards the end, of like how do you get optimal performance out of your team in a remote environment, and how do you optimize for your company and do right by your employees at the same time.
So send me those links and I'll definitely get them in the show notes for when the episode airs. But is there like, should they follow you on LinkedIn?
Definitely
Like,
follow me on LinkedIn. So Nick Avaria, Avaria on the last name. And also like, if you check out those resources, you can always find me through those.
and agencyacquisitions.io. You go
Correct.
check out his site. He's got a great little funnel site there. If you're an agency owner and you're struggling, which I know that there's a lot of people out there, I'm in a small group. Everybody's kind of sharing all the shifts, all the changes, everything's happening. Everything's moving at 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Nick knows his stuff. We were talking a lot before the podcast, and I would love to keep this conversation going. Nick, I would love to have you back on. Everyone, if you want to grow your business with the largest, most powerful tool on the planet, which was the internet, but I'm not sure so much anymore. It might be LLMs at this point. And so AI, reach out to Best SEO Podcast, and we can point you in the right direction. We're working with a lot of different agencies. We're pretty maxed out at EWR. We are taking on some new clients, but we're very picky about that. Nick has a lot of great agencies that he's also working with. And so, hopefully you like this podcast. If you did, please leave us a review. Please watch it or like it on YouTube. Like, we're trying to move it over to YouTube and it looks sad. I'm going to need to start running ads because I'm embarrassed. But go check us out on YouTube at Best SEO Podcast. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Until the next time, my name is Matt Bertram. Bye-bye for now.